In the news this week, government takes steps to assuage fuel scarcity. As election season heats up, Nigerians resolve not to fall victim to propaganda. And now, it's the other news.
And here's your host, Okey Bakassi.
Okay. Welcome to another episode of the Other News. Hello and happy fuel scarcity once again. I think we should have a public holiday for this fuel scarcity. My guest today is a businessman and a politician. Ayodeji Karim is with us, ladies and gentlemen. A round of applause for him. Yeah, also today we'll talk a little bit about money, a little bit about politics, and our special correspondent, Binta Bhadmus, will venture into the world of sports betting. Binta and betting, what are the odds? Anyway, we have all that and much more coming up. But first is the other news headlines. Well, following President Donald Trump's vulgar remarks about African countries, Ugandan President Yoweri Museveni has said that he loves Donald Trump for speaking frankly to African countries. Can I speak frankly to you, President Museveni? Bikomechiono. And if you don't know the meaning of that, you can Google it. All right? A group of Southeast leaders of the ruling APC have endorsed President Buhari to run for re-election in 2019. They have also asked that he hand over to an Igbo president in 2023. Wow. Well, I don't give up already, eh? Far 2023. All right, no problem. Reminds me of that point in the season when Arsenal fans start saying, at least we'll come forth, but next season we'll win the league. Well, Gunners, I mean, you know what I'm talking about. A Tanzanian prophet who is notorious for guzzling alcohol while preaching has been arrested for kissing both his wife and his house help in public. Wow. Mr. Prophet, next time the unholy spirit pushes you to do experiment like this, just bind and cast and lock yourself in the lab. Bloody science student. When it comes to deciphering the problems of Nigeria, there's always a lot to say.
I have gone through it over and over again. That's why I'm not in a hurry virtually to do anything.
Let me say prestissimo, that is as quickly as possible, that the political krinkum, or if you like, the political higgy-haga.
Well, insightful responses if you ask me, but nobody asked me. Recently, the latest episode in a series of Nigerian problems stirred money stolen by a man who many say left his position as head of state as a result of food poisoning. Yeah, you know him. Against popular opinion, Nigeria's immediate past president, Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, did some things worthy of applause. One of which was his successful negotiation for the return of $500 million out of the $5 billion of the alleged Abacha stolen loot. Abacha, who, for the record, is the only leader who has continued to give to Nigeria unwillingly but generously from the grave. Perhaps he knew the exchange rate would get so high, he saved some money for us abroad. If that's not foreign reserves, I don't know what it is. Well done, sir. According to Switzerland, the money was returned to help Nigeria. But their help came after they had helped themselves by seizing $505 million. The Swiss need to tell us why they accepted this money in the first place. How much interest have they made off the money? Why did they keep it for so long from us? Abacha's next of kin. Anyway, about $250 million was released to the Office of the National Security Advisor during the tenure of Colonel Sambo Dasuki without appropriation. Partly why this guy is still being detained till now. Yeah, that's him. Yeah. Since one part of the money had been allegedly mismanaged, I am sure the government acted quickly to safeguard the remaining $250 million. So, where is this money? Is he still alive? Who is responsible for this abduction? This is definitely not the first time something like this has happened. Just last April, Rivers State government and the NIA, we are dragging over who was the rightful owner of a certain 43 million, 27,000 pounds and 23 million naira found in an Ikoyi apartment. This really is not fair now. It's not fair. After surviving cold and hardship in a Swiss bank vault, the money was successfully repatriated to Nigeria and was glad to be back home, only for it to be kidnapped. Towards the end of last year, Senate President Bukola Saraki had this to say. Was he really insinuating that those who were meant to solve the situation were part of the problem? Maybe if we had been given our due respect to our Yoruba elders who told us money is a visitor, we would not be in this situation. Has the money visited us and left? Is the money hiding somewhere in this country? Has it been converted to champion our campaign funds? Maybe the recurring fuel scarcity has caused its abductor to burn it and use it as fuel for his or her generator. You see, when a visitor flies away or disappears frequently, the hospitality of the host must be questioned. Now the Swiss people will be saying they were right to seize the $505 million they seized. Out of all the money put in foreign reserve for Nigeria by the generous Abacha, $1.9 billion has been either seized or forfeited to the US, while $505 million has been seized by the Swiss. This was the exact reason the Senate President Bukola Saraki was angry the other time. According to him, these nations have been hesitant about releasing the money because they fear that it will be abused. But he's so wrong. Nigerians don't abuse money. Instead, we praise it. Ah, you this money, yes. See how fine you are. Ah, it will be my pleasure to spend you. Maybe it is high time we started, serving this visitor good pounded yam. That is, feed this money with worthwhile developmental projects. Well, since return money is always in such a vulnerable state, it should get special treatment and maximum security. Tracker chips should be put into all the notes so that we always know where the money is spending itself. Also, all Nigerians should get bank alerts with the heading, beware of abduction, when money enters or leaves Nigerian treasury. Money. Wherever you go, wherever you are, whether you have escaped to fantastically corrupt London or shithole New York or even dubious Dubai, no matter how far, Nigeria loves you. Please come back, money. Our money, come back. Remember our special song, no matter where you they make you no forget area. Oh. Area. Oh. You see now? Come back. Come back. Yeah, it's still the other news. My guest today is a successful businessman and a man who is passionate about developing this country. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Ayodeji Karim. Welcome.
Good to see
Make
you.
yourself comfortable.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, it's good to have you, Ayodeji.
It's good to see you.
Yep. I hear your people, you have this distinct tribal mark. Where is yours? You left it at home?
No, I think that that's been out of date for at least 50 years now. So.
Oh, but why did you guys, at a time, that tribal mark actually should be reigning now that people are into tattoos. Nigerians feel that elections are rigged or almost rigged at the point of selecting party nomination. Mm-hmm. And people are saying that party faithfuls, Nigerians, everybody should be involved in the process of nomination before we get to the process of voting. Correct. What's your take on it?
There's two ways to look at it. First of all, there's a party constitution that states that has to be amended for that to happen. But my own personal belief that everyone should be involved in electing their leaders. It's as simple as that.
Now, when we have all collectively elected these people, most times our emphasis are on what happens in Abuja, the president. And people sometimes tend to forget that they also have governors. So, president, governor, where should our attention be?
You see the current system that we run the federal, the federal, regional, state, and local government.
Yes.
I think it should be in reverse. It should be local government, state, regional, and federal, in that order.
Thank you very much. It's getting interesting. We'll be back. We'll take a break, and we'll still come back. Still to come on the other news, I will talk about that letter that Baba Shege wrote to Baba Bubu. Then special correspondent Binta Bhadmus brings us her special reports. But now, we are here with Ayodeji Karim. One more time, please, let's encourage him.
Thank you.
Yeah, Ayodeji, the issue of restructuring has been contentious.
Yes.
What are your thoughts?
My thoughts about restructuring, I will refer back to the constitution of the country. The constitution at the moment says one thing. And obviously, that one thing is not necessarily felt by everyone. So my take, this is my personal opinion. Before the current constitution came, there was a constitution that we abided to before, which was a regional. And the regional, it means that in your region, whatever you have will be spent on your region and a little bit taken to the center.
Yep.
As to where currently everything goes to the center and is now distributed to other places. I think the reverse has to be carefully looked at.
You aspire to be the next governor of your state.
Correct.
If given that mandate, what are you going to do differently?
First things first, we have to provide qualitative leadership. Leadership for me is about leading from the front.
Everybody talks about that. How?
How? It's about leading from the front and by example.
Okay.
That's why we came up with a theme called the I shape. I-S-H-A-P-E.
Cool.
I is basic infrastructure, needs to be built. We know that. For example, your state, we know today that we require on average about 800 kilometers of roads has to be built. If you look at how much it costs to build 1 kilometer of road, it's about 100 million. So we need about 800 billion naira. We don't have that money in our budget, but what do? We can plan towards it. If we are to do that, we need to now divide the roads into 3 different categories. Essential roads, commercial roads.
You know, when you're breaking down this construction, I tend to believe you because you're the manager CEO of Costain.
Managing director.
Managing director CEO of Costain. So yes. You're talking construction comfortably.
Of course.
Most times politicians come and they tell us all these things, just that by the time they are leaving, they're asking us for extension to be able to do it.
No.
I hope it will be different.
No, well, my first statement is to provide qualitative and transparent leadership.
Okay.
First things first. Politicians will tell you, we want to do this and that. There has to be funding available for it. That funding has to be
Where
sourced.
will this funding come is always the issue.
Yes.
Is it the one coming from the federal government that sometimes may take some time to come?
Over-reliant on...
you have other plans?
We have other plans. Over-reliant on the federal government for me. You can see it hasn't worked.
Okay, we'll wait till that time. We'll wait till that time. I'm sure all your people will decide. But still on the federal, on issues that are more burning right now.
Sure.
The herdsmen. What is your take on all that has been happening?
Well, as a part-time farmer...
What is the way out? You are a farmer. That is exactly why I'm asking you. Because I know you are in agriculture.
Yes.
Big time.
I actually do animal husbandry.
Okay, you are also one of the herdsmen.
Yes, so to speak, I am.
But a modern one.
Yes,
Okay.
Look, the current way in which grazing is done is inefficient.
Thank you.
And it's ineffective.
Yes. And it's outdated.
It's outdated.
Yes.
So now we need to now think out of the box. How do we become efficient, effective, and be productive with it? The only way I see, if we look at the example all over the world, the way it's done is that everything is warehoused into an area and the feeds is brought in. Yeah. Animals are looked after.
So we shouldn't be talking about colonies.
If we're going to colonize, if we're going to do colonies...
Because I think what you're describing now is a different form of ranching.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's the ranching method.
Yes.
It's the most effective and efficient way of rearing animals.
Yes.
You get value for money.
Yes.
Okay.
I think, you know, it's a no-brainer.
It is.
You know, why we are still substituting human lives for that of cattle is what still, I mean, the rest of the world is looking at us and they are thinking, are these guys for real?
We also have to be careful, though. We also have to be careful. You know, the Fulani herdsmen have a way of life also. Now, how do we now transform them into what they've always known, into this new ranching method? I think it's about training. It's about willingness of the government to actually want to do it, and also the legal framework to make it happen.
You're running under the platform of the APC.
Correct.
The war against corruption.
Why?
Is it succeeding?
Currently, yes and no.
You want to keep it in the middle again?
No, I'm not. I will clarify.
It's either succeeding or it's not succeeding. Okay, go ahead. What is the yes and what is the no part of it?
Yes, it's working because when we see on the news, we hear this person has been arrested, this person has been arrested. But on the ground, the feeling on the ground suggests otherwise.
Okay.
You see, especially when I go, especially now that I'm a politician, I see the people on the streets and I feel their pulse.
Yes.
And I know what they say to me.
Yeah.
That it's actually not working. And from where I am sitting, I also would have to concur with the people.
That
the
is
masses,
not working.
That is not working.
Thank you for being very honest. Thank you for being very honest. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for him. To other matters now. Former President Chief Olusegun Obasanjo Obasanjo grabbed the attention of the country this week when he released an 18-page message to the Nigerian people. In this latest Gospel of St. Matthew, the former president demanded that the president, Buhari, should not seek a second term in office. Yes, that's just what President Buhari needs. Advice to not rule for 8 years from the man who allegedly wanted to rule for 12. Probably why Fayose thinks the message is good, but the messenger is not qualified to deliver it. This is not the first time ex-President Obasanjo is intervening in an election season by writing an epistle. Back in December 2013, President Obasanjo wrote a scathing open letter to President Jonathan, accusing him of many sins. So, here is my own advice to future presidents of this country. If you do not want President Obasanjo to attack you via his letters, create a WhatsApp group for former and current presidents so that Baba Shege can insult you in the group and not fall your hand outside. Obasanjo, as an elder, had to throw in a proverb. He said, when lice are abound in your clothes, your fingernails will never be dried of blood. I'm not sure if Obasanjo is saying the person who has these lice is dirty or that the person has blood on his hands. I'm not really very sure. I'm not very good with proverbs. However, Obasanjo also complained that there is poverty, dereliction of duty, lack of hope for the future in Nigeria today. Reminds me of the good old days between 1999 and 2007 when there was poverty, dereliction of duty, and lack of hope. Soldier go, soldier come, nothing changed. President Obasanjo, who just attained a doctorate in Christian theology, used some biblical imagery in his message to Buhari. He kept referring to Nigeria as a horse and said President Buhari should dismount the horse and go and rest. This Nigeria, the leaders who claim to love us call us animals. The people who claim to hate us also call us animals. But whatever you think of Chief General President Elder Olusegun Obasanjo or his so many page letter, there is no need for all of us, there is need for all of us to reflect on everything he said and worry about this our country. The state of our country should be of concern to all of us. Obasanjo is right. There is suffering in the land. People are hungry. Businesses are shutting down and things are so bad that some Yahoo boys are now popping only 12 bottles of champagne on Friday night instead of 24. It's so bad. President Buhari has a little more than a year to try and make things better for all Nigerians. After all, that is his job. It is what we pay him to do. As for whether or not he will contest for re-election, Time and his conscience will tell. Yeah. Well, coming up, Binta Bhadmus brings us a special report on betting. To miss it will be a reckless gamble, people, when the other news returns. Are watching the other news. It seems our special investigative correspondent Binta Bhadmus has a score to settle with a particular sport and its betting centers. Hopefully, we won't have to separate anyone. Take it away, Binta.
They say football is the sport of the nation. Please, if you ask me, after corruption, football is the worst thing that has ever happened to this country. And if you don't believe me, ladies, try get the attention of your men, brothers, boyfriends, even fathers when there's a live game. And as if it's not bad enough, they've added sports betting to the matter. Playing pool and Baba Jebuism has gone high-tech. Nowadays, not only is it easy for you to cheat on your significant other using the phone, you can also place your bet via the phone. And you will now be surprised by the complex mathematical formulas coming out of the mouth of these people who play bets. Even that your friend has been failing mathematics, having F9 all his life, will be telling you words like, I carry 1.5, over 2.5, double, double, go, go, and all sorts of formulas. To now complicate matters, this sports betting thing has gone viral, as every nook and cranny of this country has a bet shop. But do you know that the news agency of Nigeria recently announced that about 60 million Nigerians aged between 18 and 40 years spend 1.8 billion naira daily on sports betting? I need to find out. I need to have someone who will tell me how to involve myself in this 1.8 billion naira sports betting business. Let me find out.
Now, Nigerians say they don't have money, but people still walk into your company and put their money here. Are you using jazz or something? Like, you know, magic?
There is no magic, like nothing. It's just a matter of maybe you know your game, your team.
What would you say has been the economic benefit of your company to the Nigerian society?
Perspective, let me say, it's helped a lot of people, you know, like...
How is it helping you?
Let me tell you, like you walking here maybe with 1,000 naira in your pocket, 1,000 naira a man, and you play games, like maybe 15 games on a ticket. Maybe you give some straight win, you give some draw, you give some maybe over 1.5, you give some over 2.5, you know, you give some go-go, depend, go-go, that both team to score, you know. Those kind of points carry big odds, you know. So at the end of the day, the total winning, with 100 naira, the total winning will be maybe, let's say, 500,000.
Is it not pricking your conscience that the money which our boyfriends ought to be using to better our lives, you people actually collect that money from them?
We have been saving lives since 2014. You know, the government, they promised us change. And up till date, they are yet to do anything. We are complaining. You can see the fuel distance in the states, you know. So, and still, people are still winning, you know. Many people, they will walk. When they are coming from their work, they will branch here and stick, you know. They will have something to take home.
Mr. Raji has told us why he thinks people turn to gambling. But maybe the better strategy would be asking the people why they are willing to spend so much money on gambling.
We go into it because we believe at a point something may happen.
So many people play to make money. It's very easy to get money through sport bets. Everybody puts their hope, their salary, everything upon sports bets. And when they get back home, what will their children fall back to? What will their wives eat? nothing if they lose.
See, government no agree help us. We help ourselves like MMM, you understand? We provide help, you know. We help ourselves. See, government, see, check everywhere now. Everywhere job they increase. Bright price increase, fuel increase, house rent increase. Even you say you increase.
To some people, it's a fair means of making money. While to some, they see it as a way of wasting their money. At times, they will put a lot of money in it and they won't see anything coming out of it.
But whatever you think of sports betting, may the odds favor you. I am Binta Bhadmus for the other news.
Well done, well done. Well done, Binta. Maybe we should look into starting the other news betting show. Well, that's it for today, folks. Hope you had so much fun as I did. Be sure to subscribe to the Other News CTV on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and on Instagram. And if you want to be part of the live studio audience, give us a call. The numbers are on your screen. Our people say that the wealth which enslaves its owner is not true wealth. And that's something to think about. See you same time, same place next week. I'm still okay. Stay happy. Bye.